Hey guys, it's Pat. Welcome back to the next episode of the Hollow Down Cigar Lounge. We got four of us in here today. You know this gentleman down here, he's always in the show. I can't ever get rid of him. That's Chad. Our other OG, Justin, up here. And then we've got our first time on the show guest, Terence Reilly from Aganorsa. How are you doing, sir?
Just living the dream, guys. Just living the dream.
That's the best way
Thanks
to
for
go.
coming on, Terence.
Thanks for having me.
So, this is not, for those of you guys watching, this is not one of our review shows. This is a hangout, shoot the shit show with a friend, and that's what's going to happen. So, I'm sure, Terence, to pull you off guard, we'll probably ask you a few questions since you haven't been on the show before. But if somebody doesn't know who you are, they're probably sheltered a little bit, I would hope. But
well, you never know. You never know.
You never know. So, while we're lighting up cigars and smoking, I think we talked off air, even though it's not a review show, we all did homage and pulled out something from Aganorsa today. But we'll start the circle. Terence, what are you smoking while you're with us?
So I'm smoking our new Anniversario 25th anniversary, which is so new it's not even actually out yet. It's going to ship next month.
Okay.
And it's an honored 25th anniversary of the company. We really were methodical with it, and that resulted in it being now our 27th anniversary, and it's coming out this year. So it's taken a while to get everything exactly the way we want it, but it's finally coming out, and we're excited for it.
Hey, sometimes a slow roll for quality is better than a quick drop. So
I agree.
Well, Justin, what are you hitting up?
Right now, I'm currently using a soft flame. I was actually gifted this by Terence himself at the last FUMA experience at Cigars International. It's the Aganorsa Leaf Signature Maduro.
Oh, nice.
I believe Terence told me this is from 2019, so it's
Yeah.
got some age on it. Get a little closer. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm too good to you. I'm too good to you, Justin. People are going to be jealous.
I appreciate the gift. It was actually a baby gift for Owen. Chad knows all about baby gifts for me.
Yeah, last summer.
That would have been
almost coming up a year.
Yep. Yeah, he'll be a year in July.
Yeah, 9 months now, huh?
Yep.
Man, time goes by.
He's about 37 pounds, too.
He's a chunk. He's a big old chunky baby.
Well, that's good. Yeah, when you see those skinny babies, that's usually not a good sign. You want them nice and fat.
Yeah, that kid's eating, that's
Exactly.
for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, he don't miss a meal.
That's right.
Well, I had a choice between the Anniversario Connecticut, but I ended up pulling out the signature number one. Went for a slightly little bit bolder pull today. Just not that should surprise anybody that knows me, but so no special story with this one. I just straight up bought it and went on to smoke it. So
Contains medio tiempo.
hey, yeah.
Well, I'm smoking the Aganorsa Corojo that Pat got me.
Yeah, Validation Corojo.
Pat sent this to me, and I learned quickly, Terence, that at light up you probably shouldn't do a full retro on this Corojo.
That's some kick.
Because you'll see when we play this video back, I did that, and I don't know if any of you noticed, but my eyes went completely glazed. For a few seconds, I had to catch myself.
That's the best testimony you can give us.
Yeah, it lit me up, and I'm a retro hell guy too. But that was whoo.
I should have thought to warn you because I know you retro more frequently than any of us, so I should have warned you. My bad. It's good though. I love it.
Anything that's Corojo dominant with us is going to have some good spice on the retro.
Yeah.
I mean, this one does too, but I think that Corojo is probably a little bit stronger on the kick.
Yeah,
I know better than to full retro in the first, quarter inch of any cigar normally. So
I guess I'm an oddball. I do it right away.
Yeah.
I like the burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Justin has the most intense pepper preference out of all of us. I believe so.
For sure.
The only one that's got me was actually the Lunatic Habano, the what is it, Terence?
El Chiquito.
Yes, that one blew my freaking brains out, but I still finished it like a champ.
You hung in there. It's not your first rodeo.
Yeah, right.
Well, you've been
Terry,
busy. You just got back from NFG or not
no, he's
NFG
at Great
and
Smoke.
TGS, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Great
yeah, yeah.
Smoke, yeah.
A lot
Back to
of
back.
a lot of letters.
A
Yeah.
lot of letters.
Yeah, no, I was in. Yeah, it was a week apart. On the 7th, I was in Fort Worth, and then this past Saturday I was in West Palm for the Great Smoke.
Is that a 2-day event, the Great Smoke?
It's kind of. The main event is one day, but they do like a dinner the night before with the manufacturer, and then we did a bourbon tasting with them on Thursday night with 60 people. So they have festivities that go from like Thursday till Sunday. Like Sunday, there's a brunch with the manufacturer. So, but the actual event is only one day. There's a whole bunch of kind of like ancillary things going on during that time as well, though.
I think we should all make that a goal next year.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, Terrence has obviously made it his goal. He's already going to be there, but we
Right.
should all make it our goal to go.
Is it held at the same place every year, Terrence?
The last few years, it's been at the same place. I don't know if it'll keep being at the same place, but the last, I think, at least 3-4 years, it's been where it currently is. I mean, and if it wasn't there, it would be someplace relatively. You would still fly into the same airport. It wouldn't change like where you go or anything like that.
What's
Going to be
city
in that
is
area.
it?
It's West Palm area. It's in West
Okay,
Palm.
that's what I thought.
Yeah. I mean, it's been in green. It's been in Green Acres. It's been different. I mean, but it's in like for you, it wouldn't make any difference where it was. You'd be flying in, probably to Fort Lauderdale, and then driving the hour up there, and that'd be it. It wouldn't make any difference. So.
Because
We
it's
should
going to be
all,
in Abe's home territory anyway, so.
Yeah,
So we should all plan a trip and then get a rental car and save some money on that.
yeah, and come down and see me. Now that we always have groups. We have
Boys
a group,
road trip.
Yeah, we have a group. On Thursdays and Fridays that come down to our warehouse, just to visit. So if you go, let me know.
Yeah, because I've only been able to do the virtual. I have not yet made it to this event in person. I've been living on virtual every year, and I didn't even get to watch the virtual this year because I was at work in the middle of most of it. And the one point that I wasn't, they were having the internet host issue. So by the time it got fixed, I was back at work. So I kind of missed out on it this time.
Yeah, it was a great event, man. It was, and every year he does. I give him credit. Like he's been doing it. Next year will be the 20th anniversary, so he'll probably have like I don't know peacocks or something running around. But
right.
He's done it better every single year I've ever been a part of it.
Yeah, I heard next year is going to be a circus theme. Is that right?
Yeah, he'll probably have elephants, running around.
That's
Who knows?
crazy.
I mean,
So,
if you got
Pat,
a
did
big
you get the
anniversary,
virtual kit this year?
I did.
Okay. I didn't remember seeing that. But, Terrence, I was going to say that I really liked your event setup that you had with basically the cigar case, that leather cigar case. That was awesome.
Yeah, it went great. I mean, we sold out. We could have brought more. It was incredible how much product was, especially you consider we're one manufacturer out of many, so it's not like we're the only game in town. But yeah, all those cases sold, all those samplers, all the flex box of 10 different cigars, the Supreme Leaf that Abe also he went to Germany. Well, he didn't go, but he contacted a German supplier and got our international Supreme Leaf. So like he had those there, those all sold. So it was wild. I mean, it was if you look at the before and after pictures of our table. We sold over 120 boxes. That's incredible.
Wow.
Ravaged. That's awesome.
Yeah, those flex samplers are awesome. Got a little bit of everything in there, and they're all fire.
That stuff works well for these type of events too, especially because people a lot of times they want to get different things and try different things, and they don't want to be too committed to anything in particular. So you're able to give them, here's 10 cigars, all different cigars, or you get the leather case, 5 different cigars, 2 of each. You get the case, so it makes it a little easier for people to make the commitment. Plus, you can only get that stuff at events, so it's not like they can go tomorrow and buy any of that type of stuff. So
we talk about that all the time, about the fact that brands and brand owners that put out these, 5, 6, 7 line samplers. I think it's a fantastic idea for people who don't know your brand, because it gives you a chance to kind of go through a flight and then try out all of your options, right?
Yeah, instead of making a full commitment, instead of making a marriage, you get a bunch of dates,
Yeah. You can see what you like and what you don't like. If you're not familiar with the brand, it's the best way to do it, I think.
And also, we try to do it so even if you are familiar with the brand, there's some like so with the leather case. If you're an Aganorsa fan, want that leather case. It's nice. Or like with the Flex sampler, there's certain sizes, like the Anniversarios are round instead of box press, so you would get to smoke them in a round format instead of a box press format. So even if you're familiar with this too, there's some reasons. So we try to give some benefits for everybody, whether you're totally new for the reasons you just stated, or if you're already a fan, it's something special.
Right. How many of those leather cases did you guys do? I think I saw 100.
We did 50 of those. 20 of the Flex samplers. Those we kind of only limit to. Usually it's only 10, but because we knew this was going to be a big event, we doubled it. And then 20 of the Supreme Leaf from Europe, and that's right there, 90 units. And then we sold all of our rare Maduros, all of our Anniversario Maduros, all of our Anniversario Corojo, everything but one box of the Anniversario Connecticut. All the 10x100s. We sold all the 10x100s.
No way.
Yeah. Well, and we could, again, a lot of stuff. The leather cases we could have sold more. The Flex samplers we could have sold more. Supreme we could have sold more. The 10x100s we could have sold way more. One guy, a couple people bought them, and then one guy goes, "I'll take 15," and we're like, "We have 6 left," and they're like,
Holy
"All right,
crap.
I'll take them." So he bought them all.
Wow.
So
Those have been the topic of discussion with us a few times.
They have
about
been
whether we'd want to smoke one or not, just because it's so big.
let me qualify this, as I obviously work for the company, so you have to take what I say with a grain of salt. But so I've smoked. I don't want to sell anything that I wouldn't actually smoke. So
Right.
I smoked it a couple times, and it's more. It's a good. It's not a size that I'm going to smoke normally. We actually have a guy that he smokes 1 to 2 a day, and if he can't find it, he smokes an 8x80, and he calls it the little guy. I'll smoke the
I've
little
seen
guy.
that guy on
Lord.
some social media posts.
Yeah,
What's his name?
Leaf Lunatic.
Yeah, Leaf Lunatic. Yep, I've seen him.
Yes. So
That's
he loves it, but for me, that's not a size I'm going to ever reach for. But I will say it turns it into fun, especially if you do it it's kind of like a group gets together. There's a store in North Carolina, the Pipe and Pint. They do it where if you smoke it there, they give you a T-shirt that says "I smoked a 10x100 Lunatic at Pipe and Pint," and they'll put your time on the wall. So one guy smoked it in 42. One guy smoked it in 42 minutes, which is incredible.
Gosh.
42 minutes?
I wouldn't recommend that. He could be dead. I haven't seen him since.
Wild.
That's how Justin used to smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I was at an event in Miami. It was it was a smaller version of the Great Smoke. It's a really great event they do every year in Miami. Smoke this, and I lit it up at noon, and it went till about 4:30. And then again, you guys make comments, and you joke around, and but they sell because people see. It's for the vast majority of people, that particular size is more of something. They get together for a party and they do it for fun, or they make it somehow festive. The 8x80 we make, that sells all day long, every day. People, that's the regular cigar. The 10x100,
I see that one more often.
Yeah, the 10x100 is more something that is kind of like an event.
That
Yeah,
10x100's got to be. Go ahead, Chad.
I could even see the 770, but the 880, that's about where I start drawing the line.
Like I said, that 10x100 would trying to get stuff done in a 4-hour span. It'd be like you're carrying around a baseball bat, trying to figure out where to put it. And
I had tendonitis at the
done,
end of the. I had to get a cortisone
that
shot.
thing rolls off the table. That might break a toe.
Yeah, I think where I saw that guy was you were at TPE and you ran into that Leaf Lunatic guy, right?
Yeah.
I saw a post from TPE. That's what it was.
I actually I got him a pass because he's so proactive in promoting us that I think some people think that's his brand or something every day he posts about it. Yeah. So he lives in Vegas, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to be out there for a convention. Do you want to come by, and see it?" And so he came out for the day, and he hung out a little bit with me, and then I'm working, so he walked around and kind of checked things out, and I had a cigar with him, afterwards. He's a great guy and has been really supportive. I'll tell you though, when I joined the company, I was like, why do we make these big cigars? And then I saw the sales, and I was like, leave those cash cows alone. I'm telling you, for whenever I speak to groups like this, and for people that your audience and things like that, it's always a very hard thing for people to understand because they're it's totally antithetical to what they think cigars are about. But you have to keep in mind, for a person that smokes an 8x80, let's say you smoke one cigar a day, and that cigar costs you $10 to $12, which is not a crazy amount. That's you're looking at like close to $4,000 a year in cost. If you make $40K a year, it's 10% of your earnings. So for the average person, they're able to smoke this instead of smoking 2 or 3 cigars every day, and it not break the bank for them. And we blended the size. I'll be honest, like we make the cigar. We try to make the cigar for that size be as flavorful as possible. And I'll tell you that, like, for instance, the El Chiquito we were talking about before, the Lunatic 4 3/4 by 70, which is our number 2 or 3 SKU. Like, I prefer the flavor on that to the smaller sizes. I don't like the size, but this flavor is great. It burns cool, and you get a little bit more complexity with it. And I think it's really a great cigar flavor wise. So in that type of consumer, if you think about it, like, even if you love Aganorsa, that you smoke the same Aganorsa over and over again is very rare. Like you smoke, like you'll have the validation today and the signature tomorrow. And that's if you're already super committed to our brand. But you wouldn't be smoking any one particular one that often. So with that 10 by 100 or the 880 or the 770 or 4 3/4 by 70 or some of the 660s, they smoke that cigar every day. So let's just say they smoke less than you. They smoke that 10 by 100 like 10 times out of 10. Or you have one of our Aganorsa cigars 1 time out of 10, or even if it's all Aganorsa cigars, each one's a different one. So that's really what makes them so successful, is that the people that smoke them, that's all they smoke. And really, they're not event people. They don't care where the tobaccos come from. They're not going to show up at an event to meet the blender to talk about tobacco or anything. They just come in, reach their hand in, grab a whole bunch, and off they go. And they just want a great smoke at a good price.
Yeah, I've had the first time I ever got into a bigger stick was by bigger anything over like a traditional Gordo was the CAO flat had the 7x70. That was my first intro. And I was like, okay, that increase isn't that much. And then I had the 8x80 Uris, and I was like, okay, hey, this isn't that much of a jump. And I have not yet had the 10x100. I've picked it up and I've had it in my hand a few times, and I'm like, I haven't done it yet. But mathematically, my head thinks like in those increments where each little jump was like, oh, that's not too bad. And I know because we talked about this a few weeks ago, talking about that stick. And I was like, we think it sounds crazy, a 10x100, but then any one of us at any given time will sit here and smoke 4 or 5 cigars in a row. And I'm like, you know what? We're really doing the same thing. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We're doing the same thing. It's just instead of 1 stick, we're taking the time and putting it into 4.
Yeah, well, in that case, 6.
Or 6, yeah, right.
Yeah, I have a hard time pulling $40 on a single cigar, but when I look at the Lunatic, I'm like, all right, I could do 40 for that giant stick.
It's $10 an hour.
That's what messes with your head, right? So you say that, and you're like, man, I'm not going to spend $40 in a cigar, but you know what? I'll smoke 5 $12 cigars because it's $12
in a row.
In a row.
That's very true.
Lighting them off each other.
Right. Math does things.
It's to make an event with a 10x100. It's to make an event out of it. Really, I mean, it's it's like, okay, let's see, who can hold the ash the longest, or who can finish it. Again, I wouldn't recommend smoking it in 42 minutes, but
no.
who can finish it first, or whatever. Or if you make it into something like that, I think that even for people that's not their cup of tea, you can make it fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Chad, since you're, I saw your ash.
Yeah, I'm just showing my ash off.
Since you have not had this smoke before, outside of your watery-eyed intro, what do you think about it so far? Because I love that stick. I want to know what you think.
It's fantastic, and once I got through that first 1/4 inch, it really backed off on the pepper and spice.
It was so good, it made you cry.
It did, man. My eyes were watering. And when you go back through, Pat, and you edit this, you're going to see where I kind of stopped talking, and you guys are talking, and I'm trying to collect myself.
I thought you
got choked up.
Yeah.
So when we do slow-mos on ash drops, do I need to slow-mo on your crying?
Yeah, you probably will have to do that.
You can just see the tear come down?
Yeah. I think there was actual tears in there at some point, Terrence.
That's worth it.
So, I'm
do
going to
that
see how long
adoption.
this goes before it drops because I don't have an actual ass drop on the show yet. Justin's got 17.
I thought we almost got one of you, and it didn't quite happen. So we need one.
No.
You need
Yeah,
to have
so
Happens to the
that.
best of us.
You need to have
I
that
was going to.
adoption dog video where it's like in the arms of an angel as he's crying.
So, do you have a contact point with Terrence, Justin? You need to send him that picture of you, because here's what I didn't realize, Terrence, is that you're such a giant human.
Oh,
So
Yeah,
Justin sends
I'll
me
have,
this picture of you and him together, and you're flexing like this. And
Yeah.
I said, you know what that looks like? That looks like the old pictures from the old days of the world's strongest man and the world's tallest midget, or like the two guys standing
the
next to
world's
each other.
shortest man. Even
Yeah.
Chad was like, "How tall are you?" I was like, "I'm 5'9". I'm like, "This Terrence towers over me."
I'll tell you a funny story. There's a guy. Actually, I just saw him this weekend. He used to live up in New Jersey. He's down in the Boynton area now, where the Smoke Inn is. And when I met him, we took a picture, and then he like months later was on like a date. He went on a date or something like that. And when he goes out with the girl goes, "Oh man, thank God you're not short." And he goes, "Why did you think I was short?" It's like, "Well, I saw a picture on your page, and you looked really short next to this guy, and he was standing next to me." And he's
Well-
like 6 feet tall or something. It's not like he's
Well-
like
That's what Pat's point was. Yeah, his picture next to you, he looks short too, and I'm like, well, I know he's like 6'2".
right.
So, and you made him look like a dwarf.
Yeah,
well,
Yeah.
I'm just freakishly tall. That's the
And I'm putting this. I'm gonna put this picture up when I edit this, so everybody knows what the hell we're talking about. Well, Justin's picture, because his is the most
Yeah.
dramatic.
I'll
we
have
have
to
to put
send it
both
to
of
you,
them up
Terrence.
now because
I'll
we
put both
talked
of them
about
up.
them.
I'll
But
put both of them
Madison Money is super tall too.
Yeah,
Dude, and
yes,
it was
is.
Holy
It was
smokes!
crazy because I had, I met Terrence last year at NFG. It was the first time I met him in person. We didn't really get the chance to talk because he was super swamped, even more the previous year. But I didn't. I hadn't actually met Madison in person. I talked to him through Justin a few times with them running into each other. And so, like, the way that I went through NFG this year is I went straight to Terrence. I talked to him first because I already knew I was going to talk to him anyway. And then as I worked around, I took that picture and I made that note. I'm like, man, he's taller than I remember. And then I made it around the table and I get to Madison. I'm like, holy shit, he's even taller.
yeah.
He's like 6'8" or something like that. It's ridiculous.
He's a tall guy.
He's a tall guy.
You know when I'm looking up, you're tall.
Right.
I gotta point out this 2019 blend. Found a piece of paper. Look at the yellow cello on that bad boy.
Ooh, look
That
at that.
is
Nice.
very nice.
Where did you get that? That's what Terrence gave that to you.
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
And Cigars International at the Fume Experience. I think it was like a week after Owen was born.
Yeah, it was like
And actually-
July 12th or something.
Yeah, he was born July 11th, so I think it was a few days after that.
Yeah, or maybe sometime that way. I can't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time. Lost my train of thought.
We're talking
Oh,
about
I was
the
gonna
cello,
say
the cigar.
the wife. No, yeah, I was gonna say the wife called in the middle of the event and she was like, "Honey, I'm overwhelmed. The kids are being bad. I got the boy," and I was like, "Terrence, I gotta go," and he completely understood because Terrence is a father as well. But it was a nice little gift. Matter of fact, he gave me this cigar, an Arsenio, a few extra Fumas. I bought 2 boxes, so I got a hat and a mug. And then I was like, "Oh man, let me trade out my mug for that sign or for this sign." So opposite, you know how it goes. That
Yep.
sign. He goes, "You know what? Just take the sign." And I was like, "Okay, I'm not gonna say no." And then sure enough, I entered into a raffle because of the box contest. And then the next day,
Here we go.
Cigars
Here we
International
go.
called me and they were like, "Hey, we have a hat and a mug for you." So I walked away with 2 hats, 2 mugs, a sign, and 2 boxes of cigars, plus all the other special cigars that Terrence got me. So it was one of the
It was a
greatest
good day.
days of my life,
Yeah.
as
Chad,
Terrence likes to say.
know what I'm about to get
Yeah.
to. Right?
Yeah, I was going to segue it for you if you didn't. So go ahead.
Terrence, you have no idea. Like there's always jokes when people say that something's rigged. For the past year straight, I swear, almost every time, our show included, if we include him, like if he's not on a show and we do a giveaway, our own show included, this man enters something, he wins. Like we literally boycotted him off of 2 giveaways in a row because and we were doing the last time we did the spin the wheel live or spin the wheel app live, and the dude still won because we were trying to prove that it wasn't rigged, and he still won. And so we're like, you're not allowed. And then he goes on these other raffles, and he's always sending us crap. He's like, hey guys, I want another one. It's like,
Better be lucky than good, let me tell you.
That's right.
for real. And I was giving him crap at NFG because I was like, man, you're finally going to go through not winning one. And he won something small, but he still won.
Oh, what
Nice
did you
little-
win there? I didn't hear about
It was a keychain punch cut.
that. Oh, right on.
Yeah, nice little gift. But like James said, I still won something.
And I think I spoke in existence because I was sitting next to him and I was giving him shit. And I was like, hey, how does it feel not to freaking win? Because they'd gotten through all the big stuff. And they were just giving away like little stuff.
Flag items.
And,
Yeah.
and I was like, and then he still wins. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
All right, 27-20, Pat. That's where it happened.
27-20.
Yep, that's where it happened.
While your cigar dropped, I'll give you a little update of mine.
Nice.
That's burning
Oh, that's
nicely.
running good.
So, Terrence, what do you got in the works? What's new? What's exciting we need to know about?
Well, this is coming out now, the 25th anniversary, so that's pretty exciting about that. And then the Supreme Leaf. Supreme Leaf is a brand that every comes out once or twice a year, always in a different size. Sometimes it's a slight difference, but never the same exact size. And that'll be shipping next month. It's a 5.5 by 52 Perfecto, so that'll be the next size.
Nice.
And then we had a PCA, so all sorts of surprises there.
Yeah, I love the Supreme Leaf.
Yeah,
I'll probably see you at PCA, Terrence, so I'm going to be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will definitely come say hi to you because I'm the only one of us that hasn't met you.
Yeah, come on
Yep.
by.
You have to snap a pic and post it in the Hollow Down group.
I thought you were
You want
avoiding
to see somebody short standing next to Terrence? That's me.
Yeah, we had James Garcia on a few months back. Just shooting the shit, and he smoked the Supreme Leaf on the show too.
Yep.
He's a good man. I've known James a long time.
That was my introduction to Aganorsa, was the Supreme Leaf. I kind of broke myself in a little tough with, in my opinion. That's my favorite one. So
I think
it's hard to find.
I know I'd had some other ones that had like Aganorsa Leaf blended in them, but as far as like the first Aganorsa branded, I think that was my first one too, and then I kind of went off in the deep end after that.
Yeah,
that was Aniversario Corojo. That one was phenomenal.
The Supreme, it's funny because Supreme Leaf is limited and it only comes out a couple of times a year. But I can't tell you how many people told me that's the first like Aganorsa cigar they've ever had. You hear that a lot.
Yeah, that was my first for sure.
Yeah, I bought a box of the Rothschilds. Those things are packed.
Yeah, the Rothschild is I think that's my favorite size of.
It's so good. I've had the Figurados and the other ones that have come out, but that Rothschild, that's why I bought a box of them.
You know, that's a good point because most brands, when you have a limited release or an annual release or whatever, it's hit and miss if people have tried it. But you're right, because almost every time any one of us talks to somebody with Aganorsa, at least with me, it's almost everybody knows the Supreme Leaf or has had the Supreme Leaf. It's like the primary go-to. It's crazy what that one does. It gets attention.
It's kind of a funny story about it because. This is the 5th anniversary of Supreme this year, and so we'll do something for that later this year. But when we first did it, like we did it it was kind of you could say created by Pravada Cigars. Pravada, Brian from Pravada, actually he called me and he was like, "Listen, you guys have such great cigars." And this is before we kind of fully did our whole rebrand and everything.
Right.
He's like, but a lot of your packaging kind of looks very old-fashioned and staid, and it doesn't really pop. And I think if you did something that had really bright, vibrant colors, I think it would be really successful. It'd catch people's eye and everything. So he's like, I came up with this design, and you can use it. Just tell people I did it, and let's do a blend, and I'll buy it for the club, but you can sell it. Like you can sell it to anybody. And so we're like, okay, so we'll do a run for the club, and then we'll do a release for it. And when I first showed how it looked to people, like the reps were like, "That's going to be a total failure." They're like, "That looks terrible." like it looks like it's a cigar for Clemson. It just or LSU or something. It just they didn't like it, and so I even called them back. I'm like, oh, I'm getting a lot of negative feedback about this, and so at first I think it's kind of like, hey, your baby's ugly. He kind of got a little mad at me, but then I was like, I'm not saying it's not good. I'm saying that it's your idea. Like, you have to help me explain it, and then he did. He said, oh, this is why I did it, and and everything had a reason. And I said, okay, let's do it. And it just was a hit from day one. And so, and again, that's the hit. Like, my thing, this has been very successful for me. So I highly recommend it to all of you, is I listen to other people and I take their ideas and pass them off as my own. And that's really worked out. I mean, it's been great. I'll tell you. So I highly recommend it in your own careers.
Well, Terrence, let me.
That's funny.
I almost wasn't going to do this because it's not like Aganorsa is a baby brand by any means. But for anybody out here that doesn't know Aganorsa, and like all of us at some point we didn't. So, how did you get? I guess just a vague. How did you get started in Aganorsa? Where did it come from? Like, how did you get into what you do now? Just kind of a general intro to somebody that doesn't know who you are.
No, of course, yeah. I mean, like that. I think that's really important. So my Terence Reilly is about a gringo name as you can possibly have, but my father's he's half Cuban, and so I actually have family in the business. So Quesada Cigars, Manuel Quesada is my uncle, and so when I was when I was younger, I spent the summer in Dominican Republic working at their factory. I don't know, are you familiar with Quesada? They did the Casa Magna line.
That I know that that's the only one I know of them.
They used to do Fonseca back in the day. Now my father owns it now, but it was they bought it from us from my uncle.
I did not know that.
And so I went to work in the Dominican Republic one summer just because I had family down there. And again, like anybody, I didn't even smoke at the time, and you just see the process of creating a cigar. And then I'd go to his house on Sundays, and everyone's having a cigar and eating and playing cards. And so I started having a cigar on Sundays, and then by the end of the summer, I was kind of converted. And then a couple of years went by, and life went on, and my uncle came to me and said, "Hey, listen, we'd like to have somebody work. It's a family business. We need somebody in the States. Would you like to be in the cigar business?" And so I said, yeah. And I moved back to the Dominican Republic. I was there for 6 months, or somewhere between 6 months and a year. And then came back to the States, and I worked for him for almost 10 years. And then in 2017, I left from there on very good terms. To this day, I have tremendous respect for my cousins and my uncle and everybody over there. I was looking to do something else, obviously. And I talked to a whole bunch of different companies. I was very lucky to have various people that were interested in working with me. And then an old rep of ours when I was at Quesada, he called me. He went to high school with Eduardo, and he had kind of come out of retirement to help Eduardo Fernandez, the owner of the company, as a part-time rep in the Virginias and Carolinas area. But he said, hey, listen, the company doesn't have a national sales manager. It doesn't have anybody that is, they could really benefit from somebody like you. And I really, to be honest with you, out of respect for him, I took the meeting. Not that I didn't have, I had, I knew that Aganorsa tobacco was considered, excellent tobacco. The people that made cigars with Aganorsa were all some of the hottest brands in the industry. Illusion, at the time, Foundation, Warped still, Viaje. But I didn't really, it was kind of like I didn't really know that much else about it. And so I took the meeting, and the more I learned, the more I saw it as like this huge opportunity. These guys are making all these hot cigar brands for everybody else. They're vertically integrated. They're selling Leaf to people like Padron and Drew Estate and Fuente and JC Newman and Espinosa and Roma Craft and all these different people. And their own brands just don't have much behind them because they didn't really focus on them. It had always kind of been an afterthought. And so I said, with some focus and some maybe proper branding and a good sales team and everything else, this could be really successful. And I joined in 2017, and really, we still have a very long ways to go, but it was successful far faster than I expected. It really was like it was just missing the best cigar you've never heard of is one you don't smoke. And so we changed the name. There was a whole bunch of names. There was Casa Fernandez back then, and there was
Right.
the factory was called Tabsa, and the distribution center was called Tropical Tobacco. And it took me like 45 minutes to explain the company. And so I just wanted to simplify it. And every company has something that they focus on that makes them stand out. And it generally falls into three categories. This is kind of crude, but it's more or less true. You have cult of personality companies. You have companies where the owner is a big part of what makes it stand out. You think of Rocky Patel. Rocky Patel is the company's named after him. He's on all the ads. His charisma, his personality. You can't really think of the company without thinking of him, or him without thinking of the company. And that's one way to do it. It's the owner, is really the kind of the draw. And then you have lifestyle-based companies. Who owns Davidoff? Who knows? But immediately you think of luxury. You think of the guy with the suit and the nice watch, and they've really attached themselves to a lifestyle. You don't really think of an owner or anything like that. And then there's product-based companies where there's something about the product. Padron, La Flor Dominicana, Homo Ligero. You think of strong cigars. Aganorsa is a product-based company. What made Aganorsa special is the leaf we grow. Corojo 99 and Corojo 98 seed varietals. Specifically Corojo 99 because nobody grows that in any sort of meaningful way other than us, and that that fact that we control the whole process from seed to ash, and that's what attracted. That's why people buy tobacco from us. That's why people make cigars with us, and that's why people buy our cigars. Is that signature flavor that we have. So what we did is we started focusing everything around that, and that was really successful because that's what makes Aganorsa special. And if you don't know that, you don't buy the product. And
now that I want to say this, I can't remember, but isn't the name Aganorsa a blend of wasn't it like the factory name mixed with something?
It's an acronym. It's Agrícola Ganadera Norteña S.A., which basically means Nicaraguan Farming and Ranching Company. Eduardo is not only tobacco, it's also cattle, pig farms, slaughterhouses, rice farms, coffee farms, all sorts of other stuff. So it's a whole agricultural business in Nicaragua, and tobacco is a big part of it, but not the only part. And so if you think Aganorsa is hard, try saying Agrícola Ganadera Norteña S.A. 5 or 10 times.
That's a mouthful.
That is. We had talked about. I mean, I'd looked it up. I'd seen a story that mentioned that. I looked it up, but I could not remember where it actually. And that's probably why, because I can't pronounce that. But I'm a little too white for that. So just call it like it is.
It took me a long time to practice.
I bet. Now you say it with pleasure and roll off the tongue.
It wasn't always that way.
Yeah, that's cool because I did not. Well, at least I don't think. If I knew, I brain dumped it. I did not realize that was your cousin. That's where you came from. Because I think I've got some Magna cigars now. In fact, I think Eldon in our group traded me some at NFG.
Yeah, I got some as well.
But I knew that was theirs. I don't think I knew at all that that's where Fonseca came from. I don't think I knew that at all.
Yeah, Fonseca was, that was the big brand, certainly in the 90s for my uncle. And then as time went on, the Casa Magna kind of overshadowed it. And then the Casada brands, the Oktoberfest, the different Casada brands kind of moved into its place, and then they eventually sold it a couple of years ago, and my father has it now. But yeah, Fonseca, my uncle for years, Fonseca 799, that's what he smoked.
Yeah, those are good cigars, and I get one every once in a while. On my father's side of it, they've pulled it over. Good smokes as well.
Yeah, they did a great job with it.
I don't think I've ever had a Fonseca.
They're good.
It's very different now than I think it's an excellent. I think they did an amazing job at my father, but it was a lighter Dominican cigar.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same cigar.
Yeah,
completely reblended in. Yeah,
because they pretty much just have it now to just throw homage to the name, right? Because it's not at all the same. I don't think.
Yeah, they bought the brand name. It's a Cuban brand name as well. So there's a value in that sense to it, especially when there's the whole grandfather thing was going on with FDA and everything. So it's a great brand.
Well, that's pretty good info because even me, that some of that like clearly I was unaware of. So it's always good to learn something. So people that even know you, maybe they just learned something new. Hey, what do you know?
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Yeah.
I didn't know that, so I learned something new.
Right? Justin,
So
I thought you knew everything.
Yeah, right?
the NFG release that you put out this year, Terrence, I haven't had a chance to try yet. But so
good.
Pat's gonna have to put a picture.
Oh, you mean this guy?
Oh, you
Oh,
got
God.
it right there.
That's the one.
Look at that
The-
handsome
the-
man.
Wow.
Speaking of which, I got to tell a story too because of how tall he is. Terrence, I know you knew that you poked a few people in the eye, right, with your wings.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. There's
believe
there's
I
a
w-
lawsuit there's a lawsuit going on right now.
I believe I was the first person because we saw each other outside the event before it even started. We gave each other a big hug, and it stabbed me right in the freaking
Oh,
eye.
is he actually
But
wearing them at the event?
oh
Yeah,
yeah, he had
he was.
Oh,
wings
that's
on.
amazing.
Yeah, he had the whole getup except it was a red shirt, right, Terrence?
Yeah, I wore the red. Yeah, because
It
I
looked
thought
exactly
Satan
like
looked
that.
better.
Yep.
So imagine how tall he is, and I'm average height. That thing went right into my eye, and I was just like, just take it and just walk off. And then apparently I heard around people talking. They're like, yeah, Terrence is giving out hugs. He's stabbing people in the eye. And I was like, yep, that happened to me.
You got to be
So
careful with Satan.
And then Chad, you got this one. That's last year's blend.
yeah, and that's what I was going to get at. So, like, you make these special for an event, but you don't produce them at all in any quantity. Then, like,
No, it's a one off each year. It started out
Yeah.
as years ago. Like Don Wiggins over there, he used to say I look like Joel Olstein. Well, I guess he still does, but
sure, like 2 feet taller than Joel Osteen because he's
so
like 5. He's like 4'11", I think.
the first year it was learn to swim, and it was like my face superimposed on him, and then like we raffled off a life raft because remember we wouldn't let the people in the church during the hurricane.
That's
or whatever.
hilarious.
That is hilarious.
And then that just evolved into like being like the
Satan, sinner.
devil.
He turned into his counterpart.
Yeah, the bishop of Fort Worth, the angel of Fort Worth, the fallen angel of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
The devil wears khaki shorts, and so it just has kind of evolved each year. But it's funny. I don't even dress up for Halloween. I never do anything like that. But with those guys, it's a lot of fun, and we do a different blend and a different size. And it's a small production. It's like it's like 155 packs, so it's like 750 cigars. So it's easy. We like this year, right? We did like a Corona, but with like a 109 head, so it's like a very slight taper on it. Just whatever. It's to have it's to have fun at the end of the day. Right. It's like it's a great blend, and well, at least I like it. But
oh, that blend is fantastic. I told everyone in this chat right now how much that cigar.
Well, that's where I was going with the question originally. Was Justin sent me because I live in Michigan, so I'm a long way from NFG.
God bless you.
But yeah, well, it's getting nice now. But Justin sends me cigars. We do trades all the time, but he sent me a couple of the Fallen Angels last year, and I love that cigar. And
I got one left.
I have none left. You sent me 2, and I burned them up. But I guess my question was I didn't know if it was available somewhere. If that's just a one shot only.
No, it's a one shot deal,
so.
And that's it. We make them, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Okay. I usually, and guys know this. I slow. I kind of have a first in, first out on a lot of my singles and show cigars. It's like I have my electrics that I have my boxes in, but like all these singles and events and samplers, I have a big herf that I just literally first in, first out. So normally, like I've still got a couple, maybe 5 or 6 cigars left from last year's NFG that I'm just now pulling to. And so I put all this stuff in the bottom of that bin, and Justin, he went ahead and tried one thing of each thing he got, and he got that one. And he's like, you need to smoke this shit. And I was like, I'm going to wait. He's like, no, you need to smoke it. So I pulled one out, and I was like, shit, you're right. That's just...
Well, I said, James, you need to try it right now, because if you don't like it, I'm buying all those off you right now.
And then I had to come back and tell him that he was not getting any of mine at all.
Yeah, those things are phenomenal.
Thanks, guys.
That Chad brought up a good question about how many cigars. I have a question for you. When you release, say, the 25th anniversary, well, I guess now that's more limited. Let's say you come out with another blend. How many cigars do you guys usually produce before you announce a new cigar? Like, how many cigars do you guys make? Because you're going to have to send them to all your purveyors around the nation. How many cigars do you guys make to start a blend?
Well, usually once we're committed to making it, like we just start making it. So like usually when anyone gets to really, like for instance, like this was just because I'm smoking it, is like on the 25th anniversary. So we knew we were going to make that. That is a limited one, I guess, but still, it's 1,000 boxes. So it's 1,000 boxes. That's 10,000 cigars. We start making that, and then we tend to announce it like a few months usually before it was supposed to actually be out already. So it was supposed to be out in February, and we announced it in December. It's gotten delayed a little bit with the good people at Customs down in Nicaragua. But usually that like you announce it and then you start getting samples to people in the month before that it's supposed to come out, and then it comes out. So you're not making like some like batches of cigars, sending them out to people, and then going into a full production. Or at least we don't do it that way. Maybe some people do. Our thing is that once we're committed, now people might smoke samples. Like we might be either somebody comes visits us, or I have a bundle of a couple different blends, and I visit some store and we all sit around and smoke them and we get some feedback. But it would be more informal than like a round table of like, hey guys, should we come out with this or not? Usually, once we're committed to doing it, we kind of just do it and then give people what they're going to smoke. Also, another thing, to be honest with you, is that it's very hard to get quality feedback without the whole project being presented. When you hand somebody a naked cigar, they have nothing that tells them anything about it. And even if they're very experienced, they tend to undervalue it. They'll be like, oh, it's okay. I've done that where I've taken the best example is I do this with Cubans. I haven't done it in a long time, but I used to with Cubans. I would take the bands off and I would give them to people, and I would say, hey, what do you think about this cigar? Do you think it's supposed to be like a Cuban? What do you think? And they would never guess it was a Cuban, even though it was. And they would say oh yeah, that's a good $8 to $10 cigar or something like that. But if I told them it was a Cuban cigar, and gave it with the band on, they were like, oh, this cigar is one of the best cigars I ever smoked. So you also have to be clear on how they're going to experience. I'm kind of digressing here a little bit, but remember where there was New Coke? I don't know if you guys are old enough for that, but there was a New Coke, and the reason they did that is that Pepsi started in blind tastings beating Coke with one sip, and so they came out with New Coke, and it was a total disaster. And the problem was that you don't drink soda blind. You drink it out of a can, and you drink the whole can. You don't drink a little taste of it and then drink another soda and then drink another little taste and decide which one you like better. People don't experience it that way. So in that context, the Pepsi did better, but it didn't do better, when it was consumed in a normal fashion. And cigars are kind of the same way. It's almost like if you want to if you go to a retailer and you want them to be excited about the product, you have to show them the whole product. You can't. It's like a new car. It's well, see this car? Well, it's going to have 4 wheels. It only has 2 right now, and there's no steering wheel. But it's going to be awesome,
right,
and they can't kind of visualize it that way. You have to.
That's a good analogy, actually.
Yeah.
Well, we had Kevin Shahan on the show a while back, and he talked to us about he's adamant about the fact you smoke with your eyes first.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Meaning the sexy box, the sexy band, the look of the wrapper, the sheen. You smoke the whole thing with your eyes before you ever light it up.
It absolutely matters, and the reason I say that is that if I took your favorite cigar and I put Joe Biden's face or Trump's face on it or Kamala Harris's face, people don't feel the same way about it. They like it more or less, but they don't feel the same way. And it's the same cigar. It doesn't taste any different. But they now feel differently about it. And again, just to be clear here, it doesn't work if it's a shitty cigar. If you call it Simtex and it's a mild cigar, they'll buy it one time, they'll never buy it again. The idea is that the packaging and the presentation and the marketing sets up the experience so that when they have the experience, it meets what you've prepared them for.
Or level of expectation, yep.
Yeah, and so if it's a bad cigar, it's a bad cigar. If it doesn't burn, if it doesn't drop, if you expect mild and it's full, or you expect full and it's mild, or you expect smooth and it's spicy, those are all going to ruin the experience. So it doesn't work if the blend is not there. But you have to set up you have to set that experience up, or it just doesn't work.
No, you make a good point because you guys are well. You already came out with a unbanded Lancero for BL Luxuries,
Yeah.
and you know me, I'm a alkalite. True and true. I love Aganorsa, but even seeing the unbanded version, I was like, I don't know. I know it's going to be a banger, but I'm
Doesn't
still
look as
like,
good.
No, for
yeah,
sure.
it doesn't look as good. It's not appealing, but
I'm
I'm
not
still
telling
going to
you anything
buy it.
about it. Yeah,
But
it's no, but that's a perfect example. It's like, and you love our brands. You're a big fan of, and even for you, it's kind of like, well, because we give you no information. You look at it and it tells you nothing.
yeah,
Right.
Now again, if we do that in a disingenuous way, it doesn't work because maybe you do buy it, but then you'll be like, oh, that company sucks. So it doesn't work if you don't do it correctly. But you have to do it.
yeah. Anytime I see an unbanded cigar, I think of like seconds or hand down, or
Yeah, for sure.
hand
Right.
rolled, or what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's what I always think of every time I
bundles
see a
or mixed
band.
fill or seconds
Exactly, exactly.
And that Chad said smoke with your eyes first, that you think of it in the other direction. That's actually how a lot of your and I won't go off on the deep end on this, but that's how you get a lot of your fake Cubans actually. Oh Lord, Ellen's here and she's excited, and I have no idea what she just got from Walmart. She's always surprised me off the
I
camera.
thought you were going to say she's excited because Terrence is on. She's like, yeah.
But with the whole Cuban aspect, like the whole fake Cubans, like, and almost every smoker at some point, unless you were lucky enough to be schooled ahead of time
Has
about
been
the
duped.
fake, is you get duped, right? But and I've told y'all, like, I was stupid early in my cigar journey. The first time I went to Cosmo and I saw Cubans, right? And I didn't know the difference yet. I hadn't
Sure.
smoked my first Cuban, but the first fakes that I got were really good fakes. They were probably, a farm roll or a house blend or something, but they had taken the bands off of smoked Cohibas and put them on there. So they weren't like the really shitty knockoffs where you can tell they had reused the bands. But knowing what I know now, the packaging, I would have known better. But in my head, I was like, oh, this is a good cigar. This is a good Cuban, because I saw the band and I was like, oh, it's supposed to be good. So that's what I put in my head.
Yeah, and there are two. You hit on two important points there. One is that, like, people always ask me, I had this cigar, and what do you think it was a real Cuban? I was like, did you enjoy it? And they'll be like, yeah, I loved it. I'm like, who cares? It's like,
That's
is
right.
it better? So one is, it just matters if you like it or not.
Exactly.
And then the other thing is at the end of the day, this is, a lot of people say this, so I'm not saying anything original here, but cigars are about experience. Nobody has ever told me that, the best cigar I ever had, it was pouring rain and my car broke down and I got fired from work and my wife left me and I lit the cigar up and it was just amazing. Like, nobody says stuff like that, because that's not when you enjoy a cigar. If you ask anyone, what's the best cigar you ever had? Oh man, my son or daughter was just born and me and my friends went outside and had a cigar to celebrate. I got a promotion. I graduated from my college. My dad took out a cigar, and it's always something like that. And it doesn't mean it wasn't it doesn't mean it was the best cigar. It's the whole. That's what's special about cigars. Cigars are dried up dead leaves. And again, I can tell you right now, because we promote it this way. There's a difference between good dried up dead leaves and not good dried up dead leaves. But the bottom line is that the reason I attribute Aganorsa's success is the culture that we've tried to develop with our acolytes group, doing fun stuff, fun events, educational stuff with our Fumo experiences, where you get to try tobaccos in the pure form by themselves, and doing all that stuff is what I think has got us to where we are so far, with a long way still to go. But that's what it is, and it's about a good time. And guys, we're all going to be gone someday. And so for me, when I go into an event, if there's 5 people there, 50 people there, 2 people there, who's ever there, I want those people to leave and say, man, what a great time I had. I had such a great time. I learned a lot. It was fun. It was, we told jokes. It was, and that's what that's what cigars are about, is creating that experience. And so, like, a lot of people are like, oh, you dummy, you had a fake Cuban and you caused them out. Like, who cares? Like, if you had a great experience. Yeah, and if that turns you on to cigars, that's like, man, this is something I'd be interested in getting into, then that's great. That's what it's about. So it's at the end of the day, you either enjoy it or you don't, and that's all there is to it.
And I hope I'm giving credit to where my brain is going, but I think, since we mentioned him, I think it was James Garcia when he was talking about, we mentioned we mentioned his blind buys that he does at BL Luxuries, right? And I was like, I've learned some really good cigars that way. I just periodically get a blind buy and see whatever the hell you sent me. And he's like, that's my online way of doing like a tobacconist conversation. If you were to come into brick and mortar and be like, hey, what's your lineup for the day? He's like, that's my version. But he's like, if somebody actually comes in the shop and asks us this personally, say, hey, what's a good cigar? What's your best cigar? What do you recommend? He doesn't say, oh, well, here's this $40 Davidoff. He says, what are you going to be doing when you smoke it?
Yeah,
You know,
that's for sure.
so
That was James. Yep.
Was it? I thought it was, but
It was.
it's
all
like,
What
about
you be doing when you
setting.
smoke it?
yeah, what are you going to be doing? What's your experience? What, because I'm not going to give you a $50 cigar if you're going to be, oh, I'm going to smoke this while I'm cutting the grass tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, you could take that for anything. Like take alcohol. It's like, oh, we're celebrating, an important event. A nice bottle of scotch. We're going to the beach. Oh, we're gonna have light canned beer. And that, by the way, is more enjoyable in that environment than the scotch would be. So like,
Right,
you're like you said, mowing the lawn. You don't want to have some, expensive cigar that's rare or something like that. You're trying to mow the lawn. You're trying to make sure you enjoy it. That's a waste,
Unless you're
Yeah.
Chad. Chad always has a Fuente in his mouth, so
Nobody wants to see Justin shit faced at the beach, face down in the sand.
nah.
He's drinking light beer.
Yeah.
I got a quick question. So with this 1,000 boxes of cigars, who at your factory is going to be in charge of taking the magic marker and scratching off the 5 and making it a 7 for 1,000 boxes? 27th anniversary.
It's the 25th. We're just celebrating it now. We're just.
That's funny. If you wait a couple more years, we can just make it the 30th.
Yeah,
Rebox it.
but that'd be harder to change, I think. I think you'd have to wait for the 35th. That would be, an easier. The 2 becomes a 3 much more easily than,
So that's going to hit the store or the shelves at purveyors in the next few months, probably. You think?
But in April for sure.
April, okay. Good deal. We'll
A
look
lot
out
of
for
drops
it.
happening in April.
Yeah, so it's just around the corner. So I mean, it's like when I go on, I go on cruises. I take different cigars than on cruises than I am if I'm driving around town. So you could take this. I think when Justin talked, since we're talking about him being face down the beach, when he went his last beach trip, he took his good cigar too. So
Every time I cruise or go on vacation, I take all my favorite cigars because
yeah,
it's set and setting. I had the really good cigar and one of my favorite cigars at this place or this place.
Yeah,
Do you take your good ones on the boat, James, or no?
I do. I'll take one or two. I don't take any of my, for terminology here, I don't take any of my yard guards with me, but I'll take a few that are, I guess, more standard, if you will. Like if we're sitting out watching a movie, I'm not actually paying attention, but probably 90% of the cigars I take on the boat are some of my favorites, or the ones that I know I'm going to enjoy, or my higher level ones, because most of the time when I'm smoking, I'm taking a portion of my day to specifically go out and enjoy the cigar on the water. So I'm gonna be able to enjoy, even though it might burn faster with the wind, I'm still gonna be able to enjoy every part of that cigar. So I try to take some of my more favorites or higher priced or better blend, stuff like that, on purpose.
I take my favorites and then I also take new cigars that I've never had because it might be like the best experience of the new cigar. Case in point, first time I went to Destin, I had my first Aniversario Maduro, and I took a nice little picture on it. It was a great experience. It was with an umbrella with a drink, and I took a nice little picture. And sure enough, Terrence was like, "I need that picture." I was like, "You can have it." And so it made the Aganorsa Leaf page.
Nice.
It was just that vacation, first time having that cigar, and it will always be a great memory.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, and you're always going to remember it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we've talked, and we bring it up quite often on the Hollow Down show, and I can't coin this term. We stole it from Johnny Bravo did the first few shows when we were figuring out how to do this thing, a couple years ago, or 2.5 years ago now, whatever that was. And you talk about the Cigar Brotherhood. Well, we termed it into like friendship therapy, because this whole cigar journey it's an experience, right? So what we're doing now is what makes the bonding over cigars what it is. It's the experience that you're doing with it, conversation you're having, who you're with, what you're doing. It can take you can have the same cigar in two different settings and have completely different opinions about it because of what you're doing, which kind of goes back into the smoking with your eyes thing. It's just you're encapsulating the entire experience into what you're doing, and that I think that's why we love these things so much and why they draw you. Once you get into the journey of what cigars really are, you get hooked and you don't want to leave because it's something that you end up longing for the next time you pull one out with somebody.
My old friend Jose Blanco would say, know what ruins a cigar? An asshole. So you smoke with good people, and really, like to your point, like one of our Aganorsa acolytes is he's a cop in New York. Father just passed away. I got to meet him on several occasions, and just a great guy. He came down to the Great Smoke. He was hanging out, and then he was just walking around at one point, and he saw another Aganorsa acolyte who had a patch. He had the patch on. That we have a patch. And went up to him and was like, "Hey, you're part of the acolytes group. Oh man, nice to meet you." And they and that is what it's all about. Is like the two guys. These are two great people and through the group we were able to bring them together. And that's what it's about. You get
That's
to meet.
how we all met.
Yeah,
Same
exactly.
thing.
That's how I'm here.
It's funny you mentioned Jose Blanco. He's going to be at my home shop this Friday. But I'm going to be getting on a boat Saturday morning, so I'm going to be there. I would love to go. I've never met him. I'd love to meet him. That guy's a wealth of knowledge.
Professor, what's your home shop? Which one?
Secreto in Ferndale.
Oh yeah, Ronnie.
Yeah, yep, Ronnie.
I know.
We all know Ronnie well.
Yeah, good old Ronnie.
He's entertaining.
Oh, for sure.
But
sure,
yeah,
Ronnie's. It's amazing what he's done. He's got a. I haven't been up there in a bit, but like he had an amazing bar. I don't know if is he still doing? It's still a bar. He's still doing.
Yep. Yeah. He just does drinks and smokes, no food.
Yeah. So that part was always it's a beautiful bar, but like and ultimately like that's a good example of like he doesn't have some massive store or something like that. He just has a personality that's driven people to he does really well and credit to him.
He has huge online sales. That's where all his money's made.
Yeah, and again, like that's impressive. It's not like he has some like giant server or something. Like it's him. It's all him.
He's a hustler, man. That dude's working 14 hours a day, 6-7 days a week. He's always working.
He sells cigars, but he also sells a personality.
Yeah. No, you got to give him credit.
Yeah. Keith Park from God of Fire was there 2 weeks ago.
Keith,
I spent 2 days
Park.
with Keith. He's a character too.
Yeah, for sure. God of Fire.
Good time.
Well, Terence, this is the time to show we hate the worst, and I say that almost every time we start having to wrap up because
sure.
But I hope this is not a one-time shot. Bring you back out from time to time, shoot the shit with you because it's a good conversation. So, and
my pleasure.
Hopefully, if things work out for Chad, by the next time we've got you on here, he'll have been able to catch up with you in PCA if things go his way. Actually, meet you as well.
Yeah, I look forward to
I'm gonna look you up. I'm probably going to be working at the ADV booth for a bit. That's where
you got roped into that.
I've been pimped out.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, well, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, I love Henderson though. He's a great dude.
No, for sure. He does a lot with my buddy down in Brandon from Renegade Cigars. I know they're very close.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure I stop over and see you, Terrence, for sure.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. I'm like Richard Gere, an officer and a gentleman. I got nowhere else to go. I'm on that booth and I never leave for 4 days. Whatever the amount of time it is now, 3 days.
Right.
Trapped.
So you're gonna have to come see me.
We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule.
No, my pleasure, man. It was a pleasure. It was a lot of fun.
For sure, man. Thank you very much.
Another good bit of conversation, and everybody in the Hollow Down world, if you got any comments, suggestions, or hate mail, whatever you want, we enjoy all of it. So, show note emails down there. You can leave a comment on the show where you're watching it. Up to you, but y'all know the drill. Until next time, stay safe and hollow down.
Let's get a flex quick. There you go. Beautiful. Oh, wonderful. Good job, guys. You guys are pros.